Hello. The game I'm currently playing is Infection, Humanity's Last Gasp by John Gibson. I decided that this will be my next playthrough. Um, I have it set up. I have it set up on viral mode, which is considered the hard mode. You guys will probably see me lose. Here is the virus as it stands, drawn randomly from a molecule pool. My deck is shuffled, tokens are strewn about. These are the proteins, and we'll get to all this. I had to remove some cards from this deck so it gives it a little bit of variety from play to play. And this is my purchasable personnel and equipment, lab equipment. So we will just jump right in and get started. I'm going to try to do this in one shot, but sometimes I talk a little bit, and I think it'll probably double my playtime as it is right now, probably making it 1,000% more. So we'll just jump in. And the game is played in 3 phases. All of them are pretty simple. The first phase is the mutation phase, in which case I just follow the instructions on this card. Draw 1 molecule from the pool, place it on hex B2. B2 is right, where's my finger? Right here. So if there's already a molecule there and we're supposed to place one there, we do a replacement. So I'm going to draw from this pool, and whoops, well, okay. This is a benefit. A future personnel or lab equipment is going to come at half cost rounded down. We get to save it, we get to use it as our leisure, and we redraw. And so we're going to take this F, and we're going to place it where that J was, and we're going to create a discard pool of molecules, and they'll get reshuffled if we run out. And that tends to be where I lose the game, because I abandon working on all these molecules, and then they come back and they kill me. Anyway, that is phase 1. That is the mutation phase. The virus mutated a little bit. Phase 2 is my actions, and the lab box can have an effect on what actions I can and cannot do. In this case, it says 2 personnel workers refuse to work with each other. I don't have any personnel, so this doesn't affect me. This is a lasting effect, and we'll talk about that at the end of the turn. In the final phase is the death, the outbreak phase, containment phase, I believe it's called, where we decide if the death toll increases or not. If it increases all the way to here, I lose. So what I'm allowed to do in my turn is I'm allowed to harvest proteins at a cost written right above the protein. The little number on the protein tells me how many there are in the pool, so I know that this is a pretty rare guy. I might want to buy it now, etc. And what I do with the proteins is I put them on the board. To complete J, for example, I need 4 different proteins, and I've created an antibody for J, and then I can target it on the virus. And you notice some of them are harder, some of them are a little bit easier, some of them require a double, etc. So I'm going to start by harvesting, and I'm going to harvest these 2. Usually I like to harvest the 0 and the 1 because I'm cheap. And we are going to work on J. So this green circle goes in the green circle. This is the purple one with a hole in it, not to be confused with this red one. It doesn't have a hole in it. And I just place them on there until I complete it and can target it. Nothing worse than having one complete and then it mutates or something like that. Okay, that cost me $1. Another thing I can do is I can target a molecule. I can't because I don't have any antibodies. I can use some equipment. I don't have any equipment yet. And I can buy 1 card. This guy costs me 8. He allows me to harvest 3 proteins in a turn 3 times. The centrifuge, I'll probably buy that, so we'll see what it does. It costs $3. And Marvin the Rat, I will definitely buy later. He costs $5, and we'll talk about what he does in a moment too. So right now I'm just going to buy the centrifuge, and it costs me $3 to use or to purchase. So I'm down to 11. And I might as well use it. So to use it, if I have 1 unit, I need to roll for success. If I have 2 units, success is automatic. So I'm going to roll 4 through 6, and we'll see if I get it, and then you can see what happens. And nothing happens because it didn't work. The final phase is the containment phase, and I'm going to roll a die, and I need to roll between 3 through 6 for the first part of the game, 4 through 6, 5 through 6, etc. This roll can be modified by many things. Right now it's modified by this card. I have to subtract 2. So really I need to roll a 5 or a 6, or else the virus takes more death, wreaks more death on the world, and it does. So that is a full turn. At the end of the turn, we reset our equipment for use. I'm allowed to use 1 piece of lab equipment per turn. That's why I have to mark it. The incubator gets cleared and reset. So I'm going to go ahead and reset that. And any gap here gets filled in. 5 cards are removed, which kind of adds a little bit of variety from game to game. Like if you're banking on the rat, maybe he got removed. So that's turn 1. Whoop! I am going to see if I can end this argument, even though it doesn't affect me. It might affect me in the future. So if I roll a 4 through 6, then this argument is ended, and I failed. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it over there as a reminder. So that is a turn in this game. We are just going to kind of run right along. I might pause here or there so that I can take a drink of something and stop talking, or if the dogs bark, or if a kid comes home, whatnot. Turn 2, we are going to replace B1, which is J, which really stinks because that's the one we're working on. I'm going to draw an F, and we're going to place that there. So J, I'm not sure how many J's there are in the pool. I think there's 2, and they're both already removed. So we need the aspirator. I believe it's the aspirator, which is going to allow me to take apart a protein. This is already looking bad. Okay. The lab phase, I have workers that refuse to work with each other again. So we are going to harvest. I'm really looking at F because there's 2 of them, but F is red. We will get red next turn. I think we have to. There's 4 of them. I'm going to buy this yellow and this. I really do like to buy the 0 and the 1, and we're gonna start building up D. And I can't target any molecules because I don't have a completed antibody. So that part of my turn doesn't exist. I'm going to buy the rat while I can. No. I'm going to use my half off, and I'm going to maximize the half off, and I'm going to buy this character for 4. So I'm at 11, takes me down to 7. I am not going to use one of his 3 uses because it's a blue, and I'll get a blue next turn. I am going to try to use the centrifuge again, and we're going to roll for that. And we fail. My lab lackeys are not the best workers right now. Okay. And that will be the end of my action phase. Death toll phase, containment phase, no change, so I need to roll a 3 through 6, or I have to move the marker forward. And we're not doing very good. This is going to be a nice quick game. And that's how it goes sometimes. We have two. We're going to roll these individually. So let's roll this one. So these guys stop arguing, and this one, they do not stop arguing. So this turn is done, and this card is going to place over here. We'll fill in a 2-electron microscope, so I'm not very interested. This resets, and then we fill this up. There's the red that I promised. And the blue. So that is the end of the turn. I am going to pause. Dog's barking too. Time to take a drink. All right, well, the pause was well timed because the kid came to the door and the dog was barking and all that stuff. So we're going to continue on with turn 3. I'm going to draw a card for a mutation phase. I'm going to place on the lowest vacant C hex. And we're going to put a D up there. And this is perfect timing. Because I think we're going to kill D this turn, and we won't have to deal with any penalties because there's one spot in D. We're going to get some funding too, so maybe it's starting to turn around a little bit. So that is the mutation phase there. I can't use any lab equipment. That sucks because I was going to buy the microscope. I'll still buy it. The microscope allows me to add an additional protein to the incubator, and what it does is it creates another 0 spot, and then that's a nice combo with Dr. Monroe, because then I can get 3 for the cost of one funding. But that will not happen this turn. But what I will do is I will spend $2 and we will purchase the microscope. But I can't use any lab equipment this round. But I will purchase the 0 and the 1. We will place red here to complete D, and F. Yes, F. We're going to hope for the, I forget the name of the tool, but there's a tool that lets me double this. So we are allowed to target a molecule because we have generated antibody. So I can kill all Ds that have 3 exposed sides. So this D actually has 5 exposed sides. So I'm going to kill this one, and I get 2 funding for it. And I'm going to kill this one, and I get 4 funding for it. And what they do is they go here. So now I can kill all future Ds, and these guys go back into the protein pool, and I can reuse them. So that's essentially how this works. I believe that that is all of my actions. Oh, I didn't collect my funding. I go up to 11. Time for containment. I get to add 1. So we are having some good news. I'm still in the 3 through 6 ring, or 3 through 6 phase in the game. And when I say 3 through 6 phase of the game, 3 through 6, 4 through 6, I think I already went over that. When there's a molecule in the C ring, I do a -1 to the roll. If there's 10 molecules in the C ring, I do a -1 to the roll. That was a confusing part for me. So I need to roll a 2 through 6 because I get to add 1. So essentially just don't roll a 1. Okay. Doesn't move. That is the end of the turn. We can try to end this feud. And we don't. So this feud stays. I like to keep my cards off so I can count turns at the end of the game. We are going to fill this gap. And that might be one of the guys that doesn't work. But no, it's an intern. I'm not going to buy him yet anyway. I got to reset this. So the final 4 are going to go on. And I think there should be 2 reds in here. Awesome. so we can complete all 3 reds. We have a lot of reds. None of the reds showed up. So there we go. Our plan going in this turn is to target F because there's 2 Fs. But we'll see what happens with mutation. Again, I hate doing it, but I'm going to keep pausing. I don't know. I'm not a talker. And it might not seem that way. But anyway, no justification. Pause. All right, the lab equipment that the lab equipment that I wanted didn't come up. That intern came up, and he actually happens to be one on the feud card, but I don't have the other part. I don't have the doctor I don't have either of the doctors that he wants to work with, so I wouldn't buy him. I'll probably buy Marvin this turn because I'm going to generate some funding, and I know it's kind of silly, but I don't want to be up here in funding because then I might waste funding. I might gain some and not have room for it. But we have to see what mutation does first anyway. It might get rid of those Fs. So we're gonna replace the lowest occupied C hex. We have no C hexes to replace, so we don't do anything. That's very, very nice. Very nice. So we do not have a mutation phase this turn. There is no lab event this turn, so we are ready to go. I notice I'm going to subtract 1, so we're going to roll a 4 through 6. I am going to see, I don't know if I want to use the centrifuge or the electron microscope. Centrifuge is nice because it allows me to kind of pick and choose the molecules that go out, which can be very powerful early in the game. I might have already blown it. I got a nice combo here. But I also don't know. Actually, I'm definitely using this because this is getting totally reshuffled, so I don't know what I'm going to draw. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go for the electron microscope. We're gonna try to use it, and we need to roll a 4 through 6. And we failed anyway, so it doesn't matter. Okay, we're gonna buy red and blue, and oh no, we're not. We're gonna buy double red for 3, and we're gonna complete F. That cost me 3, so I'm at 11. I go down to 8. We are going to target F. So we're going to get funding of 8 because I can target this one. It's got 3 free. This has got 3 free. They are both in 4. So I'm going to get 8 funding. Later on, when I destroy an F, there won't be any funding. I put those molecules back in this pool. I get 8 funding, so I go up to 16. And like I said, if I get another big 8 or even a 4, then I won't have room for it. So what I will do is I'll purchase Marvin for 5. Takes me down to 11 where I started the turn. And now I got a monstrous weapon in Marvin. And he is an end of the game kind of guy, so we'll hopefully use him for a victory. Now we have to do our containment. We're going to subtract 1. No molecules in the C ring, so if I subtract 1, I need to roll a 4 through 6. And we failed, so we are going to bump it up 1, and we're doing okay. We haven't started on any of the molecules showing, and we've wasted a green and a purple, and that's what's bad. And the J's are totally gone. That's bad. So who knows what's going to happen. I noticed that I'm at the 19.5 minute mark, and I know my phone holds about 25. It doesn't hold about 25. It holds a shit ton, but it will only let me record for so long. I don't know why. So I'm gonna quit here and upload, and I know that's a pain, but at least I think we'll make a second video. and we'll just upload tonight. Peace.